Did it do it? Ah, yes, we are live on Wednesday with the beautiful Karina. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart. I'm great.
I'm so happy you're here. Last time you were scheduled, we had an unexpected kitty escape. So I'm glad that resolved itself and I was able to get you back on the calendar to join us.
Thank you for that. Yes, we didn't
yes.
expect it and it all turned out great. Thank you
does.
for being understanding.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So I'm wearing this yellow shirt today because we're kind of following this third chakra theme. I'm recycling through each of the chakras just to get this information out to people. So the third chakra is all about confidence, self-esteem, visibility, all the roles we play. And then also this idea of being both divine and human. And I know that you walk these worlds of being human and divine very beautifully. So please introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, thank you, Lynn, very much. Yes, who am I? Well, my name is Karina, and I'm also known as Karina Karjan, which is a pen name, but also a designer name. And I am a holistic health practitioner in the world of ancient spiritual energy healing arts and also bioenergetics. So what does that even mean? I have studied with I've been mentored, actually, not studied with, an amazing bloodline Sufi master for over 3 decades and all these different accolades and Reiki master teacher. And so just to wrap it all up, I've worked with energy my whole life, one way or another. And I've been on this quest to learn, how do we do things? Why is this gift here? Why does it go away? What is going on? And who the heck am I? And so many people are wondering really who they are. And it's about awakening. We are this spiritual being. And the spiritual being, we happen to be emulating ourselves within this physical realm of third dimension. But in the process, in the beginning, we totally forget who we are. We get splatted into this, and this is who we think we are. But no, we are so much more and so brilliant. But that third chakra, it's got to wake up. And the way to do it, there are many ways. My method is that I work with quantum energy. And so I just help you shift out of that stuckness, and I call it a stuckness syndrome because anything can cause it. And it is going just after the source without the stories, because the stories just keep you looped into staying closed down. And we don't need the stories, really. And it's learning to detach from those stories that we start to become free and know who we are. And when we're in ourselves, really, then we start appreciating ourselves, which is so important, because once we can appreciate ourselves, we can certainly love ourselves, and then we can really stand in ourselves and have this amazing confidence and help people just by being ourselves. You don't have to run after a cause. You can just stand in your own. But we'll get more into that. So, Shama Mama, what are you saying about our third chakras here?
Well, it's very true what you were saying. The idea you mentioned confidence, right? So the confidence is this third chakra thing. And when you have all the roles that you're playing, we get lost. And so just like you said, when you're aligned with the higher self, there's no effort. You just are who you are. I am that I am, right? These deep things. So I think also a big part of the third chakra is like these roles, right? And so you talked about energy. That's also what I do, right? Working different types of energy. Like it's all just energy. It's all just kind of like a vibration, right? I have a vibration, you have a vibration, and it's just all our little things here. But the idea is that I think what people need to start to realize is we know, and they know that every atom is this 99% empty space. So that really there is only 0.0001% of the universe is actually physical matter. And we know this, right? This is science. And so I feel like an awakened third chakra can like own that as a truth. Instead of like, you know, being all up here in the head, like, oh yes, it's a quantum world, you know, when our third chakras, we're making effort to align with what we know. And that's where people, I think, like you and I come in, where these people out in the world are starting to realize, okay, the scientists are saying this. The Sufi masters have been saying this. The Buddhists have, like, everybody's saying the same thing for thousands of years. And now we finally have science validating it on the fringes. And so I feel like this third chakra is going to allow us to own our reality. So let's say we've owned this reality, right? So the people watching have accepted, okay, I'm not a physical being. This is just, you know, because this goes to Buddhism. It's how the mind perceives. Our brain is a machine, and just like virtual reality seems pretty real when you have those goggles on, it's that same thing. So if we just accept that, then you and I know we can transform lives instantly with energy, based on a lot of the beliefs that, you know, there's certain limitations based on the person. And I know you work with beliefs. So let's talk a little bit. I'm just going to say the words energy and beliefs. And then within the scope of bioenergetics, that's what you call, is that correct? No, quantum. So what would you say to people wanting to have like a greater understanding of like, okay, I'm an energetic being and I think this way. How can the type of work that you do shift so that those things come in alignment, so that their reality and their outside world is matching what they know, but maybe don't quite believe yet?
Well, that's just it. Just because you believe something consciously doesn't mean yet it's really your belief. The unconscious is still what drives us. So how do we know what we don't know? Or how do we know what we're believing? And there are simple telltales. And our thought process, this is all linear up here. So and that means definitely contained. And it is by our filters, by our experiences, and how we assess things. But that is not how we open everything up and get connected. So how does one know? Well, your thought process comes out of your speech. So you want to know what you're really thinking? Then listen to what you're saying. Because how many times do you catch yourself saying, why did I even say that? Because it isn't what you necessarily consciously believe, but that is an underlying belief that is a limit to you. That's the block, not the energy. And so, okay, so you're speaking this, and this is what you believe because you're speaking a certain way. Well, look at your actions that follow what you just said. And again, you go back to, why did I even do that? And then the last thing, which is even most telling, is what are you attracting? If this is consciously what you want, but this is what keeps coming at you, obviously you're not aligned. So those simple tips tell you exactly where you're not. It may not tell you where you are, but it will tell you where you're not. So when you start in the very most basic of core activation, which is bringing all your energy right back to your center core, and you do that through certain breath methods, can be simple and powerful, which is what I teach, all of a sudden things start to get clear and you have some clarity. And once you have clarity, all of a sudden your consciousness does expand, which then expands your perceptions, which then expands your possibilities, and you start seeing and understanding and feeling different because you start creating a relationship, a conversation of your mind with your body and with your breath.
Mhm. All that's very key. And I'm just seeing this image of the third chakra, because everything you're saying, like the expansion and the awareness, it all comes, it shows up as a change in the self. So in my example, I guess, I'm 44 now, and I started on my journey about 30. So it's only been like 14 years, but the person I was and the person I am now is not the same person, right? And so my I am, like who I am in every sense of the word, is completely different. And it was only because I began that seeking and that transformation, and
Exactly.
whether it's through breath, all of these things, they clear the energy. Because it's what we say. So I still am guilty. I say try a lot. Like, I'm trying to do this, as opposed to like, I am doing this. So it's very true with the language. And I think the reason that the work that you and I do is important, because a lot of people who are stuck in their life trying to break through, trying to get to this next level, maybe have done other things in their life, like therapy, or have sought in other places many different spiritual paths, different things, different spiritual paths that have maybe more of a material substance to them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that ends up not, over time, not being fruitful. And so it's like, you have to come back and be able to re-explore, reopen, and constantly redefine yourself. And that takes confidence in this world, right? When we have the whole world, like my Facebook group is Divine Feminine Warriors. So I'm calling in women who are like really like trailblazers, which of course you are, like being on the front end, like, doing everything you're doing. But it is like when your third chakra starts to awaken, and it's this holy fire, like lighting your heart. It's not always like, oh,
No, it's not kumbaya all the time. Not at
no. And so
all.
that's why, we have to have, the people to help move the process along. Sometimes, I mean, time is an illusion, but I think the important thing about having support is it's faster, right? I mean, that's the bottom
Oh, it's
line.
definitely faster because the energy comes together instead of just being one cell over here and one cell over here. When they come together, it isn't just two cells, it's much larger. And that's how energy works as well, which people don't quite understand that. So, and I do understand the frustration when people have studied through other courses, other teachers, follow this, follow that. They get to the point, oh, it's just something else again. That's not going to work. Well, I understand the frustration of it, but people have to understand it is a process and everybody's journey is different. But it is when the time is right, you are open up and you can receive more of what you're hearing. So everything in the past is not lost. It's part of what you've gained to allow you to open up enough to really receive what you're seeking.
Yes, I totally agree. And the idea is like, it's what we're saying, right? As people are starting to transform, I had mentioned that a lot of people go to therapy or do different modalities that are more surface. And I think the important part about whatever modality it is, like getting to the energy part is, I work all in chakras. So what we're saying is our throat chakra. And so what we do is pulling it down and getting to the root, because we have these thoughts and then they're coming out our mouth, but if the stuff that's going on is like deep in our subconscious energy field, then the whole point of it being subconscious is that the person, myself included, we can't see what's unconscious. So that's why, having a person that can like see the energy, help people get to the root is just so valuable, I think. So I just wanted to bring up that idea about the energy work really is the root, because I'm going to get real deep quickly. Let's talk about the Big Bang, right? So it's all just energy. When you go back to the very, very beginning of time, there is nothing but a burst of energy. And so, of course, if we want to see quantum leaps in our lives, we need to go all the way to the root level, which is the start of creation. And if we're trying to bridge the spiritual and the scientific world, then I just say that's the Big Bang. Like there's probably something before the Big Bang, but like I'm not going to probably get access to that in this lifetime, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, we don't actually need it, right?
Right, exactly.
But I love the fact that, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I bring up that point because we don't need it, but I think we're going to find in the coming years, decades, that there are a lot of people that do need it. They need that science. They're not able to take that fool's leap that something in our burning heart, pushed us off a cliff. And so I feel like having that little like something to hold on to is powerful.
No, when I said not needed, I was just talking about before the Big Bang.
Oh,
yeah. No, this is enough to handle right now as a human, as part human. So yes, I mean, bringing it all back in to understand that we actually are this immense spiritual being. Okay, that is like funneled down in this physical body through our chakras. And where do they get disconnected to get reconnected so that we emulate out into this physical world, this immense spiritual being with all of this beautiful humanness that we can be in the world and help one another and just blossom and create and be who we are. So yeah, I understand for a lot of people that's like, oh, that's still way out there. But I love the fact that science now is supporting us. Yes, they're on the fringe, but they're coming in because they're learning more and more that what they thought was time isn't time. What they thought was energy is a great deal more. So I love the science supporting us. So for those that need to stay, oh, prove it to me and then I'll do it. Well, you're starting to get the hardcore proof.
Totally.
But this is beyond science. So science is just catching up to what's real.
Exactly. Well, I say it is the truth is being revealed. Like the truth has always been there. And then, part of our evolutionary process as physical beings is to understand the material world and bridge the gaps. And I think it's really we're going to get ready to wrap up, but I want to make one last commentary because you had talked about emanating. I work in embodiment, and that's an important thing because I've worked with a little bit of a Qigong master, and we would always contemplate the difference between eminence and transcendence. And we have in our culture, especially me, North American, a lot of us, have a root of a Christianity type program. And so that's all about transcendence, right? That's all about the third chakra, going up to the crown chakra and resurrecting, like whatever it is, going to heaven. It's about transcending out of the worldliness, the I am that is human, and going 100% into the divine and transcending. And I think what we're seeing now brings in a little bit of more like Taoist thought of the eminence, where we are going to be finding the balance of our human self and fully integrating that with a fully integrated spiritual self, where we, in this lifetime, Earth has a certain program, so we might not be floating around, like we might not transcend gravity, right? But that doesn't mean there aren't other laws that we won't transcend when we are fully embodied in our spiritual selves. And I think that's the thing that we need to start to understand is what we've been fed about what ascension and what and enlightenment looked like is much more of a transcendent point of view. And so I think having these conversations and letting people know that, like, no, it's really about being here, being spiritual in the third chakra, third dimension. And so I'm so grateful to have met you, to know that there are people like you doing this, that because we're on the ground, we're the ground crew.
Yes, we are the ground crew.
And so,
I love it.
Right? And so, okay, we're going to keep this a grounded conversation and leave it at that. But you have a lot coming up. You are on the forefront of just taking, like you shared, you have decades of wisdom, and you've been sharing it, I know, throughout all these decades, but you got some new things birthing. What is going on in your world now that you would like to tell our audience about? We'll be dropping some links in the description of this talk when it comes off live, but what do you got going on? What do you want to tell people about? How can they get a hold of you? How can they get into that bioenergetics with you, that quantum, and get unstuck?
Oh, well, I love it. Well, thank you, Lynn. Yes, we do have, and I always say we, because I don't do this alone.
I do too.
Okay. I do it with spirit guides, angels, and I do it with my beautiful tribe of women, and you're in it. So, so I do have just released a book, Let's Be Clear. And it is now out, and we're doing a fun little thing that if you purchase and do just short and sweet little review from what you're reading, then you're getting on an invitation, a VIP invitation list, because then we're going to do a meet the author with Q&A. And so you're going to submit all different questions as you go through the book. And we're going to pick them from the live audience and answer them with you.
Oh, I love
And
that.
so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, this book just takes you from point A of being stuck all the way through systematically to follow a simple plan that can get you open and definitely on the road to actualize, manifest your dreams.
And we were talking about this, about value, that like the book is priced whatever a book costs, but we want to make sure that people know that, especially when you're getting a spiritual book. I mean, my example is Eckhart Tolle's Awakening to Your Life Purpose. Like, the value that I got from reading that book changed my life. And so I think that's what people need to understand about you, is that you are an activator. And so the words that you write, I'm sure there's a process within the book, but also just you as a transmitter through the words will, the readers will get value, get their own upgrade just from that. I'm sure you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Working with the Sufi master, he taught me how to put spirit into inanimate object. Okay. So yes, that's there, but also spirit guided me to write this.
Totally.
So it is charged. And it is absolutely going to shift anybody's life and change their life for the better, no matter what you get out of it, even if it's a 1-degree shift, it does not matter. And so in the book, I do have also the earth angels that put their wisdom. I have a whole chapter with that. I have 9 little earth angels in there, and everything's in the resource section. So I have a link that tells you more about the book and where they can go to get it. And
yeah, so we're talking about this holiday.
Yes,
right? Yes. So
for
Karina
this holiday,
has an amazing tribe of people. So in the link of this video, in the comments, there's going to be a link to a recent newsletter. And at the very, very top, I just checked it, is a link to go to Amazon and check out this amazing book that is going to help so many people.
And they still haven't put in look inside. And I'm trying to get them to hurry up and get that part in, because I'd love for people to see that. But in the next couple of weeks, as we put out more links, I'm going to be putting parts of what the book says. And then come next month, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, we're doing a 3-day event, and more about spiritual energy is going to come out, and I'm going to be bringing people through. As you know, it's live interactive, so everybody gets a boost of energy in all of that. And so that is going to be a lot of fun, because we're also going to be doing health and mindset and intuition activation through all of that.
Yes, I'm just looking at this. Oh yes, this is going to be great. 3-day event. Okay, well, this is the link that I will put in the chat. It's got both. It focuses on just your stuff, but it also has that that holiday one. So you got 2 great things coming on. You guys can catch up with Karina. in person via Zoom, I assume for a 3-day. And then if you're like, oh my God, I just need to check out this book, books on Amazon.
Yes. And then I also put out the guide so they can turn around and get gift vouchers too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So then in the comments, there'll be an additional link that you can go to and get vouchers for either to work with Karina or some of her, what are you calling your cohort, your tribe, you have a little like team of healers, and you're all kind of working together. So
we're all just coming together as we can see the ways to support one another.
Well, and that's an important thing, you know, just to remember about the third chakra too, is that in the past, women have kind of been pitted to eat against each other. And so we need to remember that we're all here doing the same thing. And resonance is resonance. Like everybody has clients or whatever, you know, people that are resonating on a soul level. And so why wouldn't we all just stand in a line together and just let the, you know, all in the same room and just have all the people just, you know, who calls to your heart, you know, because everybody's got this amazing, amazing medicine. And I know, you know, this. So, so I just want to honor what you're doing and what you're creating with this group of sisters and what we're creating here and all the things. We are bringing it to the world.
We are.
Okay. Well, this was so lovely. Again, I appreciate it so much. I'm so glad we were able to make this up. I'll get these links in, and Karina, have a fabulous holiday. I'll try to drop into one of these days on the 3-day. And yeah.
Well, thank you, Lynn, so much. Absolutely. We are the ground crew, and we're going to stay the ground crew. And even though we're off doing so many different things, it is important for us to come together too. And I so appreciate this opportunity with you.
Okay, so much. All right. So guys, we're going to stop this live. It's been amazing. Get a hold of Karina. Let her guide you into the holiday. Bye, guys.
Bye, love.